This is a touchy movie to talk about in today's world. Old westerns are particularly notorious for some overtly racist views, maybe the most infamous example being D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, the first real feature film, the most influential cinematic achievement of its time, and some dangerously unabashed depictions of the Ku Klux Klan. Now, I haven't seen it, so I can't tell you how bad it really is, but that movie came out 40 years before John Ford's The Searchers. And I think Roger Ebert brings up a good point in his own review of the movie. While Griffith seemed to be operating under an instinctive, oblivious racism, Ford and Wayne are purposefully exploring the hatred one man, maybe the entire country, felt towards others. Because Wayne, as Ethan Edwards, is truly a hateful man. He's on a path towards murder, not only of the Comanche tribe that killed his brother's family, but the youngest daughter who's grown up in their midst. He considers her defiled by her captors and that her death would actually be for her benefit. So this is the first John Ford picture I've seen, besides a bit of Stagecoach, and I believe it definitely captures the American landscape. And I don't just mean the mountains. What I mean are its morals, its trailblazing mindset, its larger-than-life heroes and villains with clear-cut codes that each live by and die for. The Western is an interesting genre to look back on because it so obviously changes over time. You can see how shifting ideals are reflected onto that same rocky terrain. And John Ford is the face of that change. Him and Wayne made 14 movies, each exploring a different facet of the American Western. I'm sure those who had grown up watching the noble John Wayne defeat the bad guys were kind of surprised by how loathsome he was here. But for me, watching this movie 60-something years later, and already being familiar with these lonely, obsessive protagonists, think, Travis Bickle and Taxi Driver, which was actually inspired by The Searchers, I'm able to understand the moral blindness that Wayne's character is experiencing. His awful goal is questioned the whole time by his sidekick Martin, who's constantly begging for this girl's life to be spared. So, it's not as one note as it could have been. Most importantly, though, the whole film is building to one moment, and I think that the choice Ethan Edwards makes in this moment encapsulates everything Ford is trying to say. At least that's what I believe, which is why I consider it a perfect movie. From a technical view, it's masterfully done. The blocking, pacing, mirroring of the beginning and end all are, just the best. Like the story, there's no added fluff. You see exactly what needs to be seen. Actually, I lied. Maybe there are some goofy moments that detract from the storyline, but they do add to the character of the film. This is a looming statement in cinema history, and its base simplicity is hard not to look on in awe. And that's file number 3.